Hello. I want to give my update on my goings on with Lucifuge. It's been very different to say the least. He's the first being uh, working with the clipper from the top to bottom that really like made me uh, work like in a spiritual sense. And what I mean is like when I called Thamael or Gagiel or even the Black Sun. I don't know. I could hear them and hear like or what was going on, and I feel like there's still time to elapse to allow the fullness of each sphere to come in my life. But Lucifuge himself, like I couldn't just go to the sphere and open it. I felt there was a pushback, and then recently from the last video, he's been teaching me some like really different stuff. Like the other night, like just the experience of being around him is very like it's interesting because it's very constrictive. Like people with you would think how he's normally described. People say like the Lord of Excess. I'm understanding what that means now and how what it means for me at least. But there's not a lot of wiggle room with him. Like there's things that you did and you just see them fall off one by one, and then you get filled with like this energy of progression, and even with like your true will, that to me doesn't seem like a lot of an option. It's very more of like a singular focus. And on VK's page, I think he talked about like somebody that got their addiction for like candy and stuff removed because like everything that would be a distraction or things that you would desire that aren't desires leave. Even before like I just wanted like to see him fully manifest, and I was just calling him what for it felt like just like an hour, like a strong hour at least of just conjuration with nothing, and it would just that in and of itself was him getting me just to be focused. That happened. He'll hand you off to who you need to be handed off to. Also, I was talking to him, and then Sythrakor came, and when Sythrakor was there, I was in my room just like this, just it felt like forever, but it was probably only like in and of itself that was probably like an hour or so also. But I I had to call Sythrakor and just look at her, and I saw like it looked to me like a ball of white tentacles splitting and moving, and it was making my head physically hurt, and I wasn't allowed to get up. And I just kept like I kept asking myself, hoping I would hear something different. It's like, no, just sit here. You're going to sit here and you're going to look. So the amount of even me making these, where you put your energy at. And he was talking to me about like enslavement. I also remember VK talking about like he enslaved somebody's like ancestry or their like ancestors or something. And in the description, it talks about how he breaks you from like uh what was it? He breaks you from like the weakens the ability of the demiurge. So again, with this thing about like freedom, but it's like there's a other side to him where it's very binding, like very binding. And this is how I would imagine a Saturnian energy would feel when I think the common conception or thought is like a Zazo is very Saturnian, but he doesn't have this type of even like hatred and calamity to him. Like I just don't. It's a very different level of Lucifuge. Like I was laying down and just feeling like this vast amount of hatred, anger, war. He was taking me to different planes, and having me just lay waste to shit and just being okay with destroying everything. That like stealing different beings from where they are and bringing them back to like the adverse side of energy and just letting what's over there like devour them or do whatever they wanted to him. And it's not how I imagine him at all. I guess in my mind, I was like, oh, it's going to be. It's not what I imagined at all. And it's like it's a lot different. It's very different. And I have a very much greater understanding of him, myself, and and a lot of different things. Uh, I took like well, I said the thing about the shower, but his ability that his anger is like this never ending supply of rage. And I see if somebody was like weak in their mind, it would drive them insane because you see all of yourself. You don't see the part of yourself like as happy or something. It's like a unjustifiable anger that you can just fall into, but it allows you to feel all of yourself and all of your like negative or repressed or like emotions or energies that you don't allow yourself to experience. And there was a lot of stuff in myself. I'm like, this isn't what I was, what I want to see right now. But I feel like I just have to really like immerse in this, and that on top of like me just working with my shadow and it was like it's like very it's concepts that if you were just like oh I'm a human it would be very hard to hold because it's not very of anything mundane at all the way he talks thinks speaks or anything. And I wanted to just add that. And the last thing was the 11 rulers of the Cliffa are like I would say the most I don't say human quote unquote that a person if they're getting into magic can work with. But as you start to give yourself to them and allow that energies to mingle with yours, you'll get thrown up. Like I got thrown very high past anything to something that's beyond, I guess, the what you would call demonic. But then when I came back, I can interact with them in such more of an intense and tangible way that it transforms like how I do anything. And now that I can see more, I can see more of them. Before I called Lucifuge, and he showed me like this black dragon, but now I can see even like this these different manifestations of him. Like he came as a like a floating head with chains, and it represented like how he can chain you to like the highest possibility or chain you to becoming a king instead of being free. You give up your chains of humanity and you latch on chains of like what would be infinite, my opinion. But it's like it's not freedom in the way people would perceive there's even a sense to redefine what that means. I think even my understanding of being free and all that is not really just doing whatever you want. There's like a protocol for him. There's a set way of doing things, how things need to be done in order to achieve that what you're talking about. And he takes you there and redefines everything that what you think and believe. Uh, and that's it for now. I don't want to make these longer than 10 minutes. Um, I hope I wasn't rambling too much. I would like to make these full, like, of actual either experience that I've had and or like applicable theory that they've given to me. So, with that, have a good one. I gotta find a thing to say the outro.